Welcome to the Clarity Confidence Connection Summit, where badass women break through barriers and unlock their next level of success. Your host for this session is Samantha Ka'awa. Samantha has been recognized as a leading expert on relationships, and as a marriage makeover coach, she helps women transform their marriage while becoming their best selves. Samantha has been featured on Fox, ABC, CBS, and other international publications and podcasts, sharing her counterculture views on relationships. Co-creator of this summit, Samantha is eager to introduce another inspirational guest. Take it away, Samantha.
Yes, I am so thrilled to introduce you to Suzanne Kieper. I am so happy that you're here. Thank you for being here, Suzanne.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I would love to formally introduce you to everyone. So Suzanne Kieper is the founder and CEO of Operation Eureka. I wanted to add that. She has successfully launched 3 coaching businesses, as well as becoming a certified martial arts instructor, so cool, and certified life coach and consultant. Suzanne has helped her clients to break through their blocks to get their lives on track, as well as their businesses. Suzanne currently lives in Virginia, where she is growing her empowerment programs. Oh, so good. Welcome, Suzanne.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we are going to be talking about being the empowered badass that you always wanted to be. But before we get into that topic today, I would love for you to share a little bit more about your background. Definitely want to hear something about the martial arts instructor, but I just want for you to share with our audience how you got to this place in your life, from how you got from where you were to here today, sharing this wisdom with everyone.
Well, when I was a kid, I remember being asked what I wanted to be when I grew up. I said president.
Nice.
My teacher told me I couldn't be that because I was a woman. Women can't be president. And I said, well, when I grow up, maybe they can.
Yeah.
And she looked at me like, oh, I've never considered that before. So I was a bit of a spitfire, even as a 5-year-old kid.
I like that.
Although over time, the world kind of crashed in and people had rules and this and that we needed to follow to get through life, and stuff happens. And there came a time where I knew I wanted to defend myself, which is where the martial arts comes in. And so I started learning, and I loved it. I had so much fun doing it. And I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. So I started teaching that.
Nice.
When I started and coaching the kids and adults, and learned so many things doing that. And that really kicked in the personal growth for me. And many different programs after that, since then, and learning so many different areas of life, and especially what I'm responsible for, especially as an adult, has shifted everything, everything for me. And now I can be the badass woman that I'm meant to be, it's just so much fun to be that, and just to be free to be who I am. So it's very cool.
That. Oh, what an inspiring story that you have, that, you went from finding your own way to sharing it with others, and then just letting that emanate, right, to being that badass woman that you've always wanted to be. So, oh, that's so good. So thank you for sharing that, by the way. And let's go into how we can do that. Like, tell us, I would love to know, what are your secrets to becoming that empowered badass?
Well, that's one of the secrets, is recognizing what rules you have running in your life.
Ooh, okay. Recognize the rules that we have running in our lives. Okay. Tell us more.
So let me ask you this. What do you do when you're ready to cross the street?
You look both ways.
Exactly. Wasn't it? I mean, it immediately out of your mouth. That is what we do. That's what we're taught. It's a great rule to have.
Yes.
There are other rules I learned. Did you ever hear children should be seen and not heard?
I have heard that one before, yes.
And I even heard children should not be seen and not to be heard.
I've heard that one too. Yeah. Not myself, but I have heard someone say that before. Yep.
So in that, I was thinking about, so how does that make me feel as a kid? It makes me feel invisible. Makes me
Yeah.
feel like nothing that I say or do matters because it's not important. I'm supposed to be invisible.
Right. And not worthy.
So what do I do if that's running as an adult? What am I still doing?
Making yourself invisible.
Right. Is that going to empower me? Not in the least bit.
No.
So there's another, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, I was going to say, how do you find those rules that are running in the background? Because sometimes these are so subconscious, right? Like it's not like you get up to a street and you look both ways. I mean, it's become so ingrained in us and subconscious that it's not like we say, okay, now look both ways, right? We don't say it out loud. It just kind of happens. So how do we recognize those rules for ourselves?
Well, what you see is the results of those rules.
Okay.
So another one that I had learned was that being a woman, I should take care of everyone else before I take care of me.
Definitely.
Result of that is what? Burnout.
Yeah. So if you're
And
having burnout, then you trace that back to a rule that you might be following that was imprinted on you at an earlier age in life.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So look at the results you're getting. And sometimes the results are good and you can say, oh, keep that rule. Or you can say the results are not what I want. And you're like, okay, let's reset this rule.
Yes, exactly. So another one was that you can recognize as playing small. If you're about to step out in the limelight and you get nervous and you can't do it, you don't want to do it. Why don't you want to? What's the purpose in that? I remember having someone tell me that I shouldn't do better than someone else because it makes them feel bad.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine hearing that at 5 or 6 years old and you think the person's being truthful with you and you don't know they're just messed up, just as like anybody else.
Right.
So when you find yourself not even owning or recognizing your potential, somewhere in there you're stuck.
Yeah.
That if you're not moving forward, you're not expressing yourself fully, then there's something in the way. There's something, it's almost like you've got straps on you holding you back.
Yeah. And I think we can all relate to feeling that, right? You're like, I don't know what it is, but it's not happening. So, okay. At the very least, we can recognize that part. Yeah.
Yes. And if you try to take those straps off and just ignore it and go do the thing, that's a wonderful thing if you can.
Right. I don't know how to do that. That's pretty talented.
But in general, what you end up doing is you end up shying away, going back to doing the same old, because you haven't recognized that there's a part of you that doesn't feel safe doing that thing. And when you can talk with your inner self, that younger self of yours, and let her know that she's safe with you, you're not going to let her get hurt, that you love her, and allow her to express what's going on for her, then you can start learning where it's coming from.
Right. I love that. So it takes some self-exploration and some willingness to look at your past to truly understand what those straps are, and then how to support yourself.
Yes.
In removing them in a way that will remain off, right?
Yes. Have you ever held something for a really long time?
Yes.
And it's heavy, and then you go to set it down and your hand hurts and you almost can't open your hand?
Yeah, because it's stuck.
That's what our brain and our heart does when we're letting go of one of those rules that we held for so long.
We're like, no, it's my survival mechanism. I don't want to let go.
Right. The thing is that it's not helping you survive anymore.
No.
It may have worked when you were little. There are some things we even gain as adults that do the same thing, that, oh, I have to do this to survive. You're in a safe place. Right. You are okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. Okay, so take us to your second tip today.
Okay. So the fun part is that all of these rules, whether they were imposed when you were little or not, you're choosing.
Ah, so acknowledging the choice in this.
Yes, because if you recognize that you're choosing it, guess what you can do? Unchoose it. Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. You don't have to hang on to these. You don't have to keep them.
Yeah.
And recognizing what serves you and what doesn't serve you. Like
Right.
crossing the street, looking both ways, that's going to serve me the rest of my life.
Yes, I will keep that one.
Exactly. Playing small, not so much.
No.
You know, if I want to stay small, okay, I can, but it's a choice.
Yes.
All of these are choices. Even when we were a kid, those adults imposed rules, we actually chose back then. And we just chose them because we didn't like the consequences of not choosing them.
Ah, right.
So when we can recognize that the consequences now are up to us. Although if you go speeding down the road because you want to break that rule, you may get a ticket. That's just kind of how life is.
Yeah.
Unless of course you can outrun the police. I don't know.
You might not change the consequences, but you can you can choose
Right.
the rule that you want to follow in the moment.
Correct. You get to choose the consequences, whatever they are. And sometimes you get to create them.
Yeah.
So if you're choosing something good because you're going to stand out, that you're going to, like me doing this today, the funny thing is there wasn't any nervousness whatsoever today because I knew what I was sharing was true.
Yes.
And that it can shift your life.
Yes. I love that. I have a follow-up question for you. What would you say to those that, your second tip was to choose, right? It's a choice and you can choose differently. What about those people who say, well, is it really, or I don't feel like I have a choice because it's just so scary or so difficult and I mean, I've heard this question before too, but I just would love to hear your perspective on what advice you would give someone that is still holding on so tight, that is having a hard time letting go. Like, is there a way that you can help them peel one finger?
Yes, absolutely. If you, well, first of all, the scary part is what we make up.
Okay, so there's the story behind
The story we tell ourselves about whatever the thing is. Oh,
Okay.
or what somebody else taught us, whatever. It's a story. It's just a story. It's like whatever kid movie, you know what I mean? It's just, it's a story. So if you want to create a new story, take a moment. You can hang on to that rule as much as you want, but stop for a minute, look around. What do you know? Because there's always something you know about moving forward. There's always a piece that you can see.
Yeah.
And when you look at that and you realize, oh, I can do that. And you can take the rule with you. Okay, what's the next thing I can do? And you look around, you realize you're still holding on.
Yeah.
And you can. Then you take the next step.
The baby
and maybe
step.
you get another finger or a half a finger out.
Yeah.
And as you keep taking steps, you start realizing the truth that none of this meant anything.
Right.
Other than maybe as a kid, they wanted to keep you safe. So they told you not to climb trees. I don't know, whatever.
Right. Right. And so those that may have some resistance in accepting that it's a choice, like take a baby step and see how that fits on. And take another baby step to see if you want to keep the rule or you want to let it go, right? So you're saying it doesn't have to be this all or nothing. It could be some of these micro moves that help us to own that I'm okay, now I guess I do own this. I am making a choice right here, right?
Yes. Yeah. We make choices every day. You make a choice to get up in the morning. You make a choice to brush your teeth. You know, they can also be rules if you want them to be.
Yeah.
I don't always do it in the same order. Right. I like to mix it up so that it's not set in stone.
Yes.
So you can be free. And the more that you can recognize that the holding on of that rule is you fighting against yourself. That when you allow yourself to talk it out, you get to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to start realizing you're calming yourself, and you can start the shift. You can start doing the little steps and the little steps and the little steps. And sometimes when my head gets all wound up in it and I'm like, oh, I can't, and this and that, and blah, 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 and you know how you get the monkey brain, they call it?
Yeah, too many choices.
Sometimes, and that's even, there is no such thing, because the reality is the more choices you have to choose from, the more open your self-esteem is, the more your
Ooh,
self-esteem increases,
I
the more
like that.
choices that you have that you can recognize. Now, you don't have to choose them all,
Right.
you know, but even if, let's say I wanted to get a new job, somebody could say, and to help me to get a list of things, I might say, work at McDonald's. Is that one that I'd really want to choose? No, but I would still write it down because there's flow coming through.
Yes.
So when we can recognize that we're
Mhm.
fighting against ourselves, not anybody else, doesn't matter who taught you the rule.
Yeah.
You're really fighting against yourself now. You're an adult. There's no
Yeah.
one telling you what to do anymore.
Right. Honoring that, okay, I've accepted this rule that someone imposed on me. And so I can reject the rule now, or undo the rule now, change the rule now, and then move forward. Okay.
One of the wonderful things is if you can replace it with something else, not necessarily another rule, but another pattern that does serve you.
Okay. So what's the difference? Can you give an example of the difference between the rule versus like another pattern that you're replacing it with?
Do I brush my teeth every morning? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Do I do it at the same time every day or in the same order? No, I don't.
Okay.
So it's a pattern of something that I do want to happen.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm crossing a country road and I can already see before I even get to the road that there's no cars coming for a mile either direction, I may walk across the street, just walk and not stop.
Right. So you can bend the rules in certain ways, and that being kind of your discretion and your ability to discern,
Yes,
and you can replace that with some discernment, instead of it being these hard rules.
correct.
I get
And
it.
the less rules that you have, the more open you are, the more free that you are, and the
Oh,
more
okay.
you get to be.
I like that. So the less we want to increase the choices, because that increases our self-esteem and our self-worth, and then we want to lower the amount of rules that we're living by so that we have more freedom. And then we can open ourselves up for more opportunity and becoming the empowered person, the empowered badass.
Because the rules limit us.
Yeah, I see. So what is that your third one, or is there a third tip that you have for us today?
Knowing yourself. Yes. Being open to digging deep, because you have no idea how deep these things go.
Yeah.
And realize that you're setting that younger self free.
Oh,
I mean, when I was a little kid, when I get really excited, I jump up and down and dance all over the place.
yeah.
Do I do that now? Every once in a while.
Nice. I like that.
When I let her out, absolutely, she loves to do that.
I love
She
it.
loves to be free.
Yes.
So I guess the third tip is let your inner self out. Let that child free.
Yes.
And realize that it's not that she's not you. She is you. She always has been. You have always been her. But we just get separated by all those rules. When you start coming back together, you start feeling whole. You start feeling like, oh, I can do this. And then when you want to have fun, that younger self was right there to laugh with you.
Yeah.
And to tell you jokes, even if they're corny. you know?
I love it. Yeah, let that inner, yeah, River saying, great tip, let your inner child out. Absolutely. I think that it's almost, you're saying like it's synonymous to like removing the rules, right? And letting the child free and letting the child out is kind of hand in hand, right? Because our child self doesn't have as much rules or regulations. It's those around us that have imposed that upon us and taught that to us and conditioned us in it. But as a child, they're like, what? Like, I can crawl off this ledge. Like, I mean, not that we want that to happen, but there isn't any really defined rules in childhood, right?
They
So
don't have the fear.
right, we're really releasing that and going back to that place of curiosity and wonder.
So where you just reminded me, and where you can look for and find the rules
Yeah.
is look for where you have fear.
Ooh, that's a good one too. So where there's fear in our lives, there's normally a rule written about it. And is the rule the one creating the fear, or is that is that what causes our fear?
No, it's the other way around. When
Oh,
we
tell
have
me.
fear, we create a rule to make ourselves safe.
Ah, okay. So the fear creates more and more rules. So if we're living in fear, hence we have a lot of rules.
Mhm.
But if we're living in freedom and in our empowered badass self, then the rules lessen.
You don't think about rules. You're just thinking about being a badass self and having a great time.
Yeah, and we're just living our childlike self life.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's so
So
good.
if you find your mind, I'm going to do this one last thing quick. If you find that your mind is getting wrapped around something and you get the fear going on, when I go and I do that big poof,
Yeah.
I feel it in my chest, and I also feel it on my head. And what I was thinking now is gone.
Wow, that's
So
cool.
I can clear my mind in that moment to say, okay, is there a need for me to be afraid right now? What am I afraid about? And it gives you the chance to make a shift into being that playful self and say, okay, let's go have fun. Even if you do that right away, let's have fun. Let's do something. Let's go dance on the grass and barefoot, whatever.
I love that.
Have fun. Enjoy being your younger self. Be gentle with yourself, especially be gentle with yourself with all of this.
Yeah.
There's no need for you to beat yourself up. Having a lot of rules is what we learned, and it's okay.
I love that message of being gentle with yourself. But I want to make sure we have time for you to share this. Suzanne has a free gift for all of you, and it's called, Are You Looking to Feel Courageous, Empowered, and More Confident of Your Direction in Life? So make sure you click on this link right now, because this is a free gift for everyone, and for you to claim and access. So really quickly, Suzanne, I know we don't have much time, but can you explain what they'll get from that free gift?
It's gonna help them step forward. They're gonna get steps to follow, to shift their thinking, their words, and their actions, so they can have a more empowered life.
I love it. Perfect. And then your VIP gift for the VIP ticket holders is Empowered You Masterclass and a one-on-one call. So tell us just really briefly as well about that.
With the Empowered Masterclass, we dive deep so that we can get into some of these rules, some of these patterns that get stuck in there, and help to release them. And the one-on-one call is to see if there's more in there and if we can be a good fit to work together. So
I love it. So go ahead and get your VIP gift in the VIP portal or upgrade. Any final words of wisdom, Suzanne?
Be yourself and realize that your best self is the most beautiful gift that you can give to the world and yourself.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing session on the Clarity Confidence Connection Summit. Be sure to mark your calendars to join us in Hawaii from November 2nd through the 5th for our premier in-person experience. If you have any questions or want to apply to be a speaker at one of our upcoming events, email our team at breakthrough@clarityconfidenceconnection.com.